I forgot to put you back in. I'm going to edit this part out. I was like, why aren't we showing?
Great start, that is.
Great start. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And I'm so freaking excited to be joined once again by my good friend, Olivia Buzaglo. Olivia, how's it going?
Oh, that's such a nice little intro. Yeah, I'm good. It's good to be back. I feel like we haven't chatted, we haven't spoken in ages. So we actually did just spend the last half an hour before we started recording just having a catch up. So that's been really nice as well.
Yeah, it was amazing. And there's so much to talk about FPL. I was telling you a bit how my team has been a little bit of a shit show recently because there's just been so much. I feel like I've made a lot of transfers like too early as well. I always pick the wrong captain and it's just not going great. But I'm seeing green arrows. I went from like 2 mil to 1.4. So we're making progress. But obviously, this game week 25 is a bit of a weird one. And so first I want to talk about your team and how you did last week. So I'm going to see if I can figure out if I present my screen. Can I share the window? I think I can. And you should be seeing your team now. Amazing. Okay, so this was your team last week, Liv. Could you walk us through what happened?
Yeah, I mean, the goalkeeper, I don't really like doubling up. And because obviously there was rumours that Reece James wasn't going to play, I benched Reece James. And so I was always going to play Kepa over Nick Pope, which turned out to be a very, very good decision considering Nick Pope got -3. Yeah, my defence, Estupinian, I bought him in, I think I brought him in probably about 5 weeks ago, or maybe like 4 weeks ago, and he's got 9, 6, 7, and 8. So he has been like a great buy for me, and I've played him every week because he's attacking, he gets forward, Brighton keep clean sheets as well, but even so he gets assists and even goals as well. I mean, that one at Palace that was should have been given and wasn't. Luke Shaw's been like a good buy for me as well, but I think I'm gonna take him out for this game week. It's either him or Trippier. I can't make my mind up. Kevin De Bruyne already out my team. Marcus Rashford should have captained him. I was so close to captaining Marcus Rashford.
Same.
And I just went, Forest. I was just like, you know what? They put 6 past them at the Etihad. So City were they just looked off it. Yes. I was actually at the game and they just had zero composure, which is very unlike City. Mitoma I bought in a couple of weeks back and he hasn't done anything for me, but I'm keeping him past the blank because of the double. Martinelli as well. I was so close to changing him for Odegaard. And actually, considering I would have had to take a -4 for it, actually wouldn't have been any good for me. So I stuck with Martinelli and they've got the double coming up. So I'm keeping Martinelli. And then Haaland and Nketiah and Tony. Obviously, I benched Tony last week when he got the 10 points. So I put him in this week and he did nothing. So that's always what happens with me and Ivan Tony. So I think I might get rid of him this week. And then maybe look to put him back in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, overall, I did okay. Got just past the average, but nothing to write home about, I don't think.
Yeah, and I'll just share my team as well. And it was very similar in terms of points to your team. So where is it? Here. Okay, so my team got 51 points, so just 1 point more. I also have Kepa in goal, and this is one that I'm thinking, should I keep him as my goalkeeper because Chelsea haven't been keeping so many clean sheets? I kind of want to see how we get over this bump of really difficult fixtures, and then I'll make a decision basically because I have other places that I need to sort out. White did nothing. Shaw 6 points, and then Liverpool let me down. I actually had Mahrez in my team and he didn't play, and I transferred him in. That was a really stupid transfer by me. I transferred him in after he did so well, and then he got rested by Pep, and so I learned my lesson with that one. And again, I was thinking Rashford captain, and I was so close to doing it, and I just chickened out because I was like, Haaland could do anything at any moment, and if the majority of people are captaining Haaland, then I'm going to miss out. And then I have Saka, Odegaard, the double Arsenal attack. I had Martinelli a couple of weeks ago, but I switched him out in favor of Saka.
Yes.
Thanks. I also have a Brighton asset marked, and similar to you with Tony, like I've had him on my bench. I had him in my team. He did nothing. I put him on my bench. He got 10 points. So I brought him back in my team and he did nothing again. And then I had Harry Kane and Haaland as well. So there's a lot to talk about in this game week. It's a double game week. So what are the main transfers that you're thinking about making this game week? And maybe who do you think are the best double game week players?
So I have already done KDB to Salah, mainly because of the double. And I think Liverpool going forward looked pretty good against Real Madrid. Defensively, they were an absolute shambles. So I was going to go with Trent. I'm not doing that anymore. I genuinely was going to go with a Liverpool defender, but having seen that, I know Real Madrid are very good going forward, but that's not happening. I'm not doing it. So, and I'm not like spending that much money on Trent and Robertson. Absolutely not. So I've gone Salah. Now I'm looking at my team for this game week, and obviously I want people with doubles. I've already got Ben White, who's got a double, Martinelli, Salah, and Nketiah. Now I'm thinking I've got Ivan Toney, so I'm thinking he was always going to come out. Him and Nketiah were always going to come out at some point. But Nketiah's got a double this week, so I'm not going to be taking Nketiah out to put someone else in. So Ivan Toney, I think, is the player that's going to come out. And I'm looking at either Darwin, because I thought he looked very impressive. He looked sharp against Real Madrid, albeit I do think he won't play 90 minutes both games, but I do think he'll probably start both games. So I think I'm going to go Darwin or João Felix. Now, my thinking behind João Felix is actually when I look at Chelsea's fixtures, the Leeds, he's going to play every game. He's going to play every single game.
Yeah.
So, yes, we've got Spurs. Chelsea do create chances, and he, if anyone, has looked like the one that's going to be getting Chelsea's goals. So if we create chances, João Felix would probably be the one I put in. And then Chelsea have got Leeds at home. Now I expect him to start that as well. Then Leicester away, then Everton at home, then Aston Villa at home. So there is, I don't know, I think long-term wise, it depends if I want to work short-term or long-term here. If I work short-term, I go with Darwin. And if I want to go long-term, I go with João Felix. So I've just got to make my mind up on what I think, because Liverpool have also got some nice fixtures as well. Like they're all green on theirs. So I could keep Darwin long term, and then maybe go Nketiah to Felix or Nketiah to Tony if I want to get Tony back in. So they're my issues at the moment, which I'm going to have to decide tomorrow because obviously it's an early deadline. But I also think I might go Luke Shaw or Kieran Trippier out, because I've still got my wild card, so it's not an issue if I want to put either of them back in. Now, Luke Shaw has been good, but they blanked this week. Then they've got Liverpool, and they've got Southampton at home. Then they've got Brighton, then they've got Newcastle. So actually, it's really that Southampton at home game is the only reason I'd be keeping Luke Shaw. But equally, when I look at Trippier, he's got Man City away after the blank. And then he's got Wolves at home, Forest away, then Man United at home. So I think out of the two, I'm probably swaying more towards keeping Trippier, but that's going to be a hard decision. Who do I take out of those two? Because I want to keep a Estupiñán. There's no way he's coming out of my team, and there's no way that Reece James or Ben White are coming out of my team. So it's a really hard decision. But I think I'm going to make 2 more transfers. So I think I'm going to make a -4. It'll be a -4 because I've got 2 free. But the players I am looking to bring in, I'm really not sure about, because Everton have got a double. I don't want to double up on Arsenal. And it's like, do I really want to be taking out Luke Shaw and putting in James Tarkowski? Do you know what I mean? So they're the things I have to think about. I think the forward transfer will probably be the easy one. It's just like go with my gut on Felix or Felix or Darwin, yeah. And then the defensive one, I'm going to have to think about more. So that's basically my plans for this game week. But beyond that, I don't know how people do this, like plan for like 5 minutes ahead. Like, yeah. I'm like, should have done that last week. And instead I'm now wasted a transfer in this week, but never mind.
Yeah, that's literally what happened to me with Mars. Like, I've already transferred him off my team. I was like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is such a bad strategy. But I don't know. Like, I try to plan and then I just see them scoring goals or not performing well, and I'm like too keen on transferring players out. I have a similar situation with the defenders because I did want to get an Everton defender in. So I transferred in Tarkowski, but I had Patterson, and
Okay.
he was like, I wasn't sure if he was going to be back fully fit. Maybe he gets some minutes, but I didn't think that it was going to be enough. So that was kind of like an easy switch for me. It wasn't like I was switching a Luke shot. And then I also had Botman. And so I had a complete mess because I made my transfers, like completely forgetting about the Liverpool Real Madrid game. I didn't know what day of the week it was. Like the days are just flying for me with the puppy. Like my schedule is just absolutely packed. So I honestly thought it was like Thursday. It was Tuesday. I made the transfers, and then what?
I said, oh my gosh, that's so early. But sometimes it pays off. Like sometimes it pays off because their price might rise and you might have like got them before. But I get way too scared. Although having said that, actually, no, I did KDB to Salah yesterday. So after the Liverpool game.
Yeah, I just like didn't know what day of the week it was. I completely forgot about the Champions League. Like my mind has just been an absolute mess. And I don't know why. I feel like I had the transfers in my mind for so long that I thought that it was like closer to the deadline than it actually was. And so I'll share my screen quickly just so that you guys can see my team. And now I'm a bit regretting the Trent Alexander-Arnold transfer into my team. So I have Kepa in goal. I brought in Tarkowski. I brought in Trent. I had Ben White. So I have doubles here. And then I had Saka and Odegaard. I was trying to bring in Salah, but I just didn't have enough money because of Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And even though Spurs aren't playing well, I feel like Harry Kane you can always kind of rely on to get a goal and assist. Like if they're scoring, he's usually at the heart of it.
Yeah.
So I decided to bring in Gapco instead. And then I have Holland and Mitrovic. I don't know if he's going to be able to play. Right now, saying 50% chance. Let's see. But I had so many Arsenal and Man United and Newcastle players that I had to really readjust my team a lot. I do think that Trent was putting in, at least in the first half, some pretty good balls for Real Madrid. So maybe I'll get some attacking returns, even if Liverpool don't keep a clean sheet. And it's quite surprising because they were looking good, like kept a clean sheet against Newcastle and against Everton as well. So I was quite surprised about Real Madrid. So I'm hoping that that doesn't bite me in the butt so much.
I think those two teams they're playing have really struggled to score this season. Like Palace don't look like ever scoring, and Wolves don't really look like scoring either. So they are two very nice fixtures. They like, do you know what I mean? But I don't know. Like just don't think I want to go for Trent. Like, it's so much money as well. Like, I have 3 million in the bank. Like I've got 3.4. I think it's 3.4. I think I have 3.4 million in the bank. So I could easily go from Shaw or Trippier to Trent, but I feel like that money might come in handy at some point, and like I would be doing it literally for this game week. Like there's no like
that's the thing that I was thinking. And then I'm also thinking about game week 27 looking forward because I really like the look of Brighton's double game week, and I also like the look of Brentford's double game week. And so I really want to get a Stupignon into my team. And if you guys watch the fantasy show that I do on Nim's channel, I had said months ago, like Estupinian, keep your eye on him. He's a great differential pick. I brought him in, and Brighton had like a really poor run of form, and now he's doing great. So I really, really want to get him into my team. And I'm thinking, okay, well, which defender do I take out for Stupinian now?
I think it will be, I think that'll probably be an easy decision. Even if, although looking at Liverpool's game, like obviously they double in 29, but their double is Man City and Chelsea, and then Arsenal following that. So like they've got a nice run up until, so they got double in 25, then they got Man United at home in 26, which is a tough game. Then they got Bournemouth and Fulham. But even Fulham, like Fulham's not an easy game now. Like they're ahead of Liverpool for a reason, or like at least close to them in the league for a reason. So I can see why people would be going for Liverpool assets. Like I'm obviously going for them. I'm going for the more attacking assets. I think.
Yeah.
I think. I think I'm still swaying towards Darwin over a Trent or a Robbo. But I can understand why people are going for them.
My thinking was I'm going to bring them in, see how they do, because whenever I haven't brought Trent in, he's completely just punished me for it. And then I can always transfer him out for an Estupinian, say if I see that it was a mistake and that I really don't like the look of it. But what would you say is like your one must buy player for maybe the upcoming like 1 to 3 game weeks? Maybe not so much of a punty player, but like somebody that you really want to have in your team. And one player that you might have in your team that you're like, I need to sell this player and get them out of my team.
I think Nketiah is the one player I want to get out my team. Like his returns have been pretty poor, to be honest. Like since he got 13 against Arsenal when I didn't have him, and then I put him in and he gets 2-2, 4-2. So he's the player that past this game week, like he's gone. He's literally gone. And that will then be a move. I'm really liking, like, I mean, I haven't got Saka, but I feel like Saka is such an obvious buy, but I just don't know why I still don't have him, because their fixtures, they've got Leicester away, then they've got Everton at home, then they have Bournemouth at home, then they've got Fulham, then they've got Crystal Palace, and they've got Leeds. So actually, that run of games, you'd expect Arsenal to win all of them. So I might be making a move from Martinelli to Saka or something like that.
That's exactly what I did, because I just felt that Saka was like, I don't know, for some reason that Martinelli's goals just seemed to have dried up, and I felt that Saka was scoring and assisting a lot. I'm just pulling up his stats, and he has 1, 2, 3 goals in the last 5 games and 1 assist, but he really has a goal contribution almost every game. It's pretty impressive. So I think like that could be a really good option.
Yeah, because I think, like, obviously I know he's very high, like he's 36.7% owned. So like that is high, but it's not as high as it probably, like we're so used to seeing like let's just, for example, look at Erling Haaland's ownership.
I think he broke like a record or something for his ownership. Like it was insane.
Haaland is 85.1% owned. So like Saka, in the actual grand scheme of like the game, is not even owned by that many people. It's not even owned by half the players in the game. So I would probably say Saka. There's no one really that's like jumping out at me. I would say that someone like I really want to transfer him for the next few. I would say like the only reason I say Chelsea assets is because I'm a Chelsea fan and I know at some point we are probably going to score a goal or two. And out of everyone in that team, João Felix has looked like the bright spark. He looks like the person that's going to make something happen. And I think Chelsea's fixtures are quite nice. Spurs away, Chelsea tend to play very well against Spurs. Leeds at home, Leicester, Everton and Villa. So actually, like those fixtures, and for someone that they're paying so much for such a short period of time, unless he gets injured, he's going to play every game. So yeah, I would probably say like Bukayo Saka's the obvious one, but I would also say like maybe just like a little behind, maybe someone like João Felix, because I wouldn't be going for Mudryk because he's not quite clearly match fit yet, and he's not going to start every game. There's a lot of players in that area that aren't going to start, but for a fact João Felix is going to start every game. So I think maybe it's like an outsider. I think maybe João Felix or João Felix. That's how you say his name.
I said it's so hard to correct. Like once you have it in your mind, like
that's what I said. When I put, so we obviously that like WhatsApp chat we have with Chelsea, like that's just so like I've called it like João. I don't mind, like I would call him that anyway, like João Felix. So like the João bit's fine, but the Felix bit is like what? But is that not just like the English way of saying Felix, like Felix? Do you know what I mean? Like Kante, like his name's Conte in French, but is it not just Kante in English?
Somebody called me out for the way that I pronounce his name, and I was like, "I'm sorry," because I say Ngolo instead of or something like that, and it's just like it's like my accent with how I say my ends. Like it's just like that placement for me, and I was like, dude, we're all mispronouncing Azpilicueta's name. Like that's not how you say his name in Spanish, but.
Yeah.
but
I don't know.
nobody calls me out for that one.
Yeah, I don't know. People just like to go at you for anything, don't they? So, but yeah, Joao Felix apparently, which is going to be really hard for me because obviously we are going to be talking about him on Matchday Live on Sunday, and I've got to try and remember that his
Need
name's
to
not
remember
Joao
Felix.
Felix; it's actually Joao Felix. Like, I just find it weird. Not weird, but like when you, like you say, like when you're so like when you've called someone something like. Even from his Benfica days, like Atletico Madrid days, that's like the last 10 years. Like, we've been calling him Joao Felix.
Yeah, no, it's just
I mean,
like
he got like, I mean, Alex put up the pronunciation video and he was just like, yeah, I don't know why people call me that. And it's like, oh,
awkward.
he seemed quite like annoyed about it. So it's like, you're now going to have to like make a conscious, I'm going to have to make a conscious effort to not say Felix.
Yeah, sure, Felix. Yeah,
Joao
that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us to differentials because Joao Felix is a differential. He's just 4% owned. So is he? I'm guessing he's basically the differential that you're looking at. Estupinian, he's also about 4% owned. Do you have any other differentials that you're potentially looking to get into your team now that we're getting towards the end of the season?
Not, there's no one that's really like jumping out at me. Right, I'm going down the list and I'm looking at like obviously all like the top scoring players, and let me go total score and just get like the top. But there's no one like, I had Almiron. Almiron's probably a slight differential. Well, I mean, not a differential actually. He's still not, but I took him out a while ago. I think Solly March is a good one. Like if you want a alternative to Mitoma, then March has been like literally in the form of his life recently. So he's quite a good one, I would say. Apart from that, I know a lot of people may be looking at Ollie Watkins. They don't double. They double in 29. They play Chelsea and Leicester, but they've got Everton, Palace, West Ham, and Bournemouth. So that is quite a nice run of games if you needed. There's not many options in that forward line. Like it's Haaland, Kane. I suppose Jesus when he comes back. But apart from that, it is Felix who like people aren't sure about. Tony, people aren't sure about. And Ketia, who'll probably be out most teams when when Jesus is back. So, I mean, if you needed someone, he's only 5.4% owned, Ollie Watkins. So that could be a good shout. I don't think I'll be putting Ollie Watkins in, but he's maybe one to keep an eye on. If he does well against Everton, he's got a nice home fixture against Palace after that. So that could be one to keep your eye on. But I think because they don't double until 29, I think people are probably going to opt to look elsewhere.
Yeah. I was thinking about Ollie Watkins. I actually didn't realize that Cody Gakpo is quite a differential. I transferred him into my team, and he's 5% owned. Price point 7.8. I transferred him in because I couldn't afford Salah, and he has 2 goals.
I think a lot of people will do that. What you've done.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that his ownership is still just at the 5% mark. And he has 2 goals in his last 2 games in the Premier League. So I think that could be a good differential. And I keep harping on Estupinian and how I need to get him into my team, basically.
The thing is, he's pretty, like, when I look at him, he's still only 4.7. Like, for a defender, that's really cheap. I mean, I got him in at the perfect time. Yeah, like for the last, I think it's the last 4, I want to say I've had him in. Let me have a look and just. So I had him in last week and he got me 8 points. Then he got me 7 points. Then he got me 6 points. Then he got me 9 points. And I had him on my bench the game before that against Liverpool and he got me 6 points. And then I had him on the bench before that. So I've had him for like, since game week 19.
Oh my God.
And it's now coming into game week 25. So I have had him and I've stuck by him, but I learned not to bench him very, very soon. And I was like, because Brighton, he gets forward and he is like so involved in everything they do. So I just find it mad that like Brighton sold Cucurella to Chelsea and then managed to buy an even better left back. It just baffles me.
Their business model is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
really.
Stupinian, like Cucurella got their player of the year last year. I imagine Estupinian might, Solly March might, but maybe Caicedo, but Estupinian's definitely up there for their
100%. And they have pretty favorable fixtures coming up, and they have
They're
2
just good
doubles.
though. Like it doesn't even matter who they play. Like they're just good. They're just a very, very good team. So they're a team that I don't even really look at their fixtures. Like with Matoma and him, I didn't bring them in because they had good fixtures. I just brought them in because they are just very, very good FPL players. No matter who Brighton play, they'll always see a lot of the ball. They'll always create chances. So yeah, they were 2 players I was just like, yeah, didn't even have to really think twice about getting. Although since I bought in Matoma, he's basically done nothing, which is a bit annoying. But I know you're.
I brought in March, and Matoma was like taking it off when I brought in March, and then I benched March, and he went and got his returns. So I'm hoping by not benching him when he plays for me now that he'll get returns. Let's see. And finally, just one other topic. A question that we got a lot is who do you pick for captain choices? Because you're probably going to go for somebody that has a double game week. Erling Haaland doesn't have a double, so this could be a good time for differential captain choice as well. So who are you looking at for your captain options?
My captain is currently on Mo Salah. The problem is that I think that Haaland, I think City, when City like drop points, I do just think that they're good. They come back and they'll batter aside, and they've got Bournemouth away, and I just feel like that could be a really, really high scoring game in terms of like from the City perspective. But I like looking at Salah's form. He scored against Real Madrid. He got 6 points against Newcastle, and he also scored against Everton. So in terms of form wise, I literally said on another pod a couple of weeks ago that I wasn't going to be drawn into this like Liverpool doubles, but I was in a situation where I was like, gosh, I have no players playing in this double game week that I need like some. So that's why I've been sort of sucked into the hype, basically because I didn't sort my team out until literally the game week before. So so I think I'm going to stick with Salah as my captain, and then I'm going to go Haaland as my vice, because I do think that, I mean, Salah's going to play, isn't he? He's definitely going to play both games. So I think, I'm going Salah over Haaland, but I can see why people would go Saka. And if I had Saka, I feel like it would be a very, very hard decision.
Yeah, I'm going for Saka, but I don't have Salah in my team, and I don't know. Like I'm nervous about it because my captaincy options tend to not work out so much. But he has 2 goals in his last 2 games. He got the 3 bonus points versus Man City as well, or 2 bonus points versus Man City, and then a clean sheet, I think. No, not a clean sheet. I'm speaking gibberish. Sorry. He got 9 points, 2 bonus points, and scored a goal. And he just looks really consistent. It looks like pretty favorable fixtures. I feel like that Everton fixture, I don't know, maybe it's like a bit of a trap game. I'm hoping that it's not, but Everton just look like so much more shirt up under Sean Dyche. But I still do expect Arsenal to win that game, so I'm hoping that captaincy option pays off for me.
I think that will be a good shout. And like now that you've said that, I'm literally like, shit, can I get Saka in my team? I feel like so many people are going to captain him. I think would I still be set if I had Saka? I'd have to take a -8 to get Saka in my team.
I took a -8 this week, but because I literally had the majority of my team Newcastle, Manchester United, and I feel like and I had Brighton, like that they're missing as well. So I had like no players playing this week. So even now I think I am up to 9, 10 if Mitrovic plays. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, I think if I do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would have 10 players, but then I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with doubles.
I feel like taking a hit doesn't hurt us bad when there's double game weeks, because you have 2 opportunities for them to play and get the points.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't taken hits in a while, to be fair. I've been pretty good with my team, and that the only thing is like transferring in Tarkowski for Arsenal away just seems a bit silly. But then like with the other players that have doubles, do you know what I mean? You don't really know.
Yeah. I felt that he was like a pretty good price point. And I kind of needed somebody. He's only 4.3.
Yeah.
And I looked at his stats: 8 points versus Leeds, 1 point versus Liverpool, 15 points versus Arsenal. Obviously, he scored a goal, so I'm not expecting him to score goals every single match. But they have kept 2 clean sheets in 3 games, and they're looking more sturdy in the back. So that's basically why I went for him.
Yeah. I think there is definitely an argument to be had, but it's just
My thing is that whoever I transferred in, I was like, I know that I'm going to get Estupinian in for somebody, so I wasn't like so bothered about it. But you already have Estupinian.
Yeah, I already have a stupid in. Yeah, I'm not going to transfer in. Yeah, it's really hard. I hate this game.
It causes me so much stress, and then I just like see my team tank after the week. I'm like, oh, why didn't I do this other transfer instead? I think especially with the past couple of weeks, with the amount of doubles and blanks, it's for me like, I don't know, like it's taking the fun out of it a little bit because it's just too stressful and you're not holding on to players for so long, and it's not as much of a long-term strategy, and I just find it like really difficult to deal with, basically.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have the same teams. Like a lot of the guys in my leagues like have the same teams. It's just like trying to get ahead of each other is just like so annoying because like everyone has got the same core like 8 players, and then it's just like the other ones that are like,
Yeah, totally.
who knows?
Totally. Who knows? Let's see. Let's hope for green arrows this game week.
Yeah, I need green arrows. Yeah, I need green arrows because the last, to be fair, the last few have been red arrows, but have been green. But this one was, these ones I can just see reds on my screen, and it's.
I just want to break into the top million. Like that's what I want.
Yeah, I was actually buzzing when I broke into the top million. I was like 500,000 last week, and I'm now 600,000. So you drop like literally in the space of literally like getting just like over the average, and you drop like 100,000 just like that, and it's just like ugh, so annoying.
Yeah, it's super super annoying. But let's see. Let's hope for the best. But Liv, thank you so much for joining. It's been so nice to have you back on. And any last minute thoughts, tips, anything that you want to say?
It was an early deadline, isn't it? So we have to remember 6:30. So I'm literally looking at it going, remember, Liv, to make your. Well, I'm not doing anything tomorrow night, so I don't really have an excuse as to why I wouldn't make my transfers before then. So remember to make your transfers. But yeah, I'm still undecided on what I'm going to do. To be honest, it's going to be, I think, get home from work, sit down, and actually try and work out. But always go with my gut, because I feel like when I don't go with my gut, it backfires. So.
That's why I just make the transfers fast, because I get
then you don't have to think about them. I've done that so many times. I've been like, right, if I just make a transfer that comes into my head that I want to do it now, because you can't go back on it, and then you don't have to think about it. Whereas like the longer I leave it, the longer I'm thinking about it, and then the less I want to do it.
Exactly. That's
a silly game.
It is a game. Yeah. So guys, hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, make sure to follow Liv, sub to the channel as well, and I'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time you're watching this, and until next time, we're out. Bye.